This hour is brought to you by Jeremy Temple Law Office of Bloomington. Personal injury, criminal, business, whatever you need, Jeremy Temple Law Office will get you taken care of.
Well, we're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin-yang, come along.
Welcome aboard Indiana Sports Beat with Corey O'Leary coming to you, of course, from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, powered by Rivals. Go to thehoosier.com to sign up for complete coverage of the Hoosiers. Todd Leary with us as always. Jim Coyle and Jimmy Jake at the wheel, keeping us on the track today. Lots to get to today, Todd. Jerry and Todd Yeagley are going to join us as Indiana's taken over BTN. And, of course, in wait for the Worth the Wait, the Big Ten documentary on Jerry Yeagley and IU soccer comes out today. Lots to talk about. U of L receives NCAA notice of allegations. The Miami great Don Shula's passed away. Man, Todd Leary, there's just so much, but the U of L thing, it's something that I've talked about for a long time, and then it's kind of disappeared. I kept telling people when I used to have discussions with Louisville fans, I'd say, dude, trust me, it's coming. They just kind of thought that it was forgotten about, and I'm like, oh, no. It's coming. You committed major violations while you were on probation for major violations. It's coming. And they got the notice yesterday, and it was pretty severe.
Yeah, I mean, I think when we talked back, a couple of months ago about maybe, or especially when the scheme came out, that maybe Louisville jumped the gun by firing Pitino because you didn't see Kansas do it, you didn't see LSU do it, you didn't see Arizona do it. Maybe at that point they jumped the gun, but I think in their defense, I think their point now is, hey, look, we cleaned house on all the people that were in charge during that time period. So maybe now we're kind of seeing a little bit more of the reasons why, why they got rid of Pitino, when it looks like it certainly looks like from the outside looking in, that, they wouldn't have had to do that. I mean, you just look at Will Wade and what he got away with at LSU, and it kind of looks like they jumped the gun in firing Pitino, but now, this may be their only defense. Yeah,
I don't think the thing is, though, Will Wade's day is coming. his letter's coming. It's on the way. Eventually, I agree with you. I think they jumped the gun, but in hindsight, they probably did the right thing because in the NCAA's eyes, it's going to show them, hey, we took it seriously. They didn't just fire the head coach, 2 assistant coaches, the athletics director, and the president of the school. They're all gone. I mean, you talk about a wipeout. Man, they truly have wiped it out. But then you're going to have the people on the other side of the Indiana fans whose program was wrecked over text messages that was so stupid it was changed the very next year. We're talking about major allegations here. The Kipper thing and all that.
But that's the thing. Like the thing they were on probation for was the stripper deal, right? Was the prostitutes and all that stuff.
Right.
Now, that is – like, that's hard to defend yourself against. Like, I don't know how they didn't get a major worse penalty for that side of it. But when you look at the other side,
they end up taking a year of self-imposed probation out of the tournament. That's a serious deal.
Yeah, you're right. It is. I mean, when you're a big program like that that's going to make the tournament, it is a big deal. I agree. But when you look at, the allegations that are coming out right now. I mean, this is what you just said a second ago is kind of funny because the things that they are being accused of now, probably a year from now, are not going to be illegal, or a lot of them anyway, when it comes to dealing with money and kids and all that stuff. So at that point, it doesn't make it, even though the allegations are serious violations right now, does it make it not as bad because they're going to be legal a year from now?
The one thing that gets me is, and we're talking, Brian Bowen is the kid who plays for the Pacers right now. But he's the kid. His dad was basically shopping him around to any and everybody, taking money from all takers.
Which happens a lot. And sometimes it's not just a kid's dad. Sometimes it's the AAU coach or whatever it may be. But it happens a lot.
The thing that gets me is they're one of the allegations is against Louisville for paying Brian Bowen. Well, it was Adidas that paid Brian Bowen, and they have not shown one lick of evidence through any of the FBI stuff that I've seen that Louisville, Rick Pitino knew that Adidas paid Brian Bowen. So that one, I'm like, all right, how are you going to prove that? So that one's going to be difficult.
Yeah, but I mean, here's just what I'll say about that. In the long run, I mean, if you look at it and you're looking at reality and not just the facts and what you have to prove something or whatever. If you're looking at the reality of the situation, Adidas doesn't give a crap whether Brian Bowen goes to Louisville or where he goes. I mean, they don't care. Nope. Obviously, someone from Louisville is directing Adidas at which players they really, really want and need and would be better for their program. And so there's no one at Adidas that really cares what school that kid goes to. It's someone from the university that's directing, and you know what kind of contract.
Well, they care in the standpoint of Adidas wants.
There's a bunch of Adidas schools.
I understand, but they don't. There's not a bunch of Louisvilles and Kansases in those schools because those schools have the unbelievable contracts with Adidas. So Adidas wants those guys to be relevant. They want the Kansases to be on the front page all the time. They want the Louisvilles to be up there because that's who they're paying the most money to. So they want that. They need that. In that regard. Other than that, you're right. They don't care. They don't care like people care in that regard. It's a whole different thing for them. It's just about promoting the Adidas line. That's all they care about.
But let's say Brian Bowen was rated the number 5 player in the country as a recruit coming out that year. Adidas doesn't go to the top 10 guys and give them all $25,000 or $100,000 or whatever the number is. They don't go to all of them and give them all money. Louisville or whomever would have directed them that we really want this kid, and they would have facilitated who they want money going to.
In this particular situation, I don't think that's how it worked. Brian Bowen was a very late thing that they didn't even recruit this kid. And
I thought he was going to Michigan State or something for a long time.
Arizona,
was it?
Ironically, but that's because now we know Arizona was probably the highest bidder at the time.
Allegedly.
I love that. Allegedly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it works out. Because of all the stuff that's going on right now, how COVID has affected college basketball. If people don't think that's going to affect this, I think they're wrong. I think that everything is going to play into this. You've got Kansas in the background yet that's got to be dealt with. You've got LSU. You've got Arizona. They've got some big fish that are yet to be fried. Louisville was just the first one. The NCAA has just taken what they got from the FBI because they're toothless in basically every other way to fight anything.
Yeah, I mean, from those schools, argument's sake, and I'm not arguing for them, believe me, but I mean, I think all of this stuff that's taking place, it certainly is going to delay their penalties or delay issues that they have and being dealt with that. But it also may lessen the penalty that they end up getting also because let's not kid ourselves. We all know that the amount of money and the dollar value of college basketball is based on TV contracts and all that kind of stuff. And the NCAA is going to need every big blue blood and it's not right. I'm not saying the process is right. I'm just saying it's reality. And they're going to need everybody they can get playing at the highest level to boost TV ratings as big as they can get.
Good morning, guys in B-Town from the beautiful lands of the Crawford County Wolfpack down there in southern Indiana. You know that's Alan from Bird's Eye telling us hello. Appreciate that.
Has he got his own Wolfpack?
Yeah, his own Crawford County Wolfpack.
Nice.
Wolfpack of one. Yep. Tim hit up the text line. Does Louisville's allegations help IU with recruitment of Aminu Muhammad since he was leaning towards Louisville and IU? It's not just Aminu Muhammad. You also can throw in there Trey Kaufman. Thank you, Jake. Trey Kaufman down in southern Indiana. Both targets of Louisville and Indiana.
We saw that work to Indiana's benefit with Romeo, and whether that was I know he was down to Vanderbilt, but he eliminated Louisville early on because of all of their issues.
Exactly. Well, the truth to be told, if that didn't happen, he would have gone to
most likely.
Was pretty definitive. He was there until Rick Pitino got fired. But now I think you're going to have another coming of this, like you just said. because there's no way. I mean, you were a kid that was recruited. I don't see any way. I know it's a different time and things are with the NCAA are a little different. People get away with more, but I don't see any way possible that a recruit can look at what they're potentially looking at and take that risk, because this is it's just it would be very risky to me. But you've been in that situation, you know more than
well. Any kid, especially a kid that's a super high recruit, it shouldn't even come close to looking at them as a possibility, because you're one and done, or one of the 2 years you may play in college basketball. May one or both of them be, under penalty of not being able to play in the postseason. And I don't care who you are, you want to play in the postseason. Like that's the major goal to everything. So, there's no way it couldn't affect recruiting, but also look at it from the flip side in that, you're going to have coaches. And I'm not saying anything against these coaches, because these coaches that are there were not a part of the issues that took place. But their coaches now are going to be saying, hey, look, you know what? We got rid of the problem. We've already taken these huge drastic steps, and we don't think we're going to get any more penalty. We're being told we're not going to get any more penalties. That's what's going to be relayed to the recruits. There's no question about that. And then if they do, they're going to act like they were blindsided by it.
Yeah, it's just I don't see how it doesn't affect them. It amazed me the job. I'll be honest with you. It amazed me the job Chris Mack was doing.
100%.
Because I was like, how in the crap is he doing this, knowing that this is hanging over their head? I just kept thinking that the whole time. And I'm thinking these kids are, I don't know what they're being told, but like with LSU and let's say Trendon Watford, when he went down, I was thinking that exact. I'm like, what in the crap are they thinking, man? Well, I guess they knew he was going to be a one and done, and nothing was going to happen in that season. And that's probably what Will Wade said. Hey, don't worry, nothing's going to happen this year. So come on down.
All of that makes sense. I mean, they don't generally come out. The NCAA doesn't generally come out and say, hey, your sanctions are, from this day forward, you're ineligible. I mean, the sanctions will be set out.
They've already said that this is going to take a year for Louisville, at least a year.
So anyone looking from a recruitment standpoint at that, I mean, these guys are going to say, hey, look, we don't think we're going to get any penalty whatsoever. But even if we did, it wouldn't be in the time frame you're going to be at the university.
Yeah, I don't think they can get away with that in Louisville now.
It's just going to be so much different, because I'm not sure. I mean, so when they vote in, you can make money off your name, image, likeness. Okay, so Adidas allowed to pay these guys. Is it okay? Then is it? No. Are we going to technically look at it like it's not that bad of a thing?
Well, it's when you're paying them to go to a school. That's the problem. That's what the issue has. And it's a problem that's been around forever. I mean, this is not something that was just invented.
Let's not BS each other here. I mean, when a kid's coming to a school, I know that it's written up right now that you're not supposed to use this as part of recruitment. It's going to be used as recruitment. There's no way for it not to be.
Right. But then at that time, though, you can do it for everybody. Now, that's not the case now. It's select players that they're secretly offering to get to funnel into. And it wasn't just to going to the schools. There was the other stuff that went along with that. Them setting them up with guys to be their financial manager and this, that, and the other thing. That's where the FBI got involved, because it wasn't just about directing people to schools. There was so much more going on here with these kids that they were trying to get them hooked up with. So there was a whole cornucopia of issues that they were dealing with. But the biggest one that we're talking about and care about is getting players to schools. But yeah, that's going to be that way, but in a much broader sense then. So it won't be so singular. And I think that's the issue now. Plus, and you're going to have the NBA rules change, which is also going to help change that immensely.
Yeah. It's just going to be, it's going to be very similar it's the actual penalty is different than the Kelvin Sampson situation. But if you look at the overall result, it's going to be the same. Something that they did was illegal. It was kind of a dumb rule. So a year later, they changed it. And right now, something that these schools are doing is illegal. Everyone thinks it's a dumb rule, and these players should be able to get paid some compensation. And now it's going to be changed. So then you're going to look back on it and be able to say the same argument, although it's a much bigger violation than what Kelvin Sampson's group was in.
Well, it's certainly worth the wait, and you don't have to wait any longer. Jerry and Todd Yeagley are going to join us next as the the godfather of college soccer. I mean, I don't know what you say there, man.
I don't either.
The guy.
Luckily, you've got to introduce him because I don't even know what you say when you introduce these guys.
Looking forward to it. We got that coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat. Make sure you stay tuned. Back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios right after this.
Living and working hard to get to heaven where I come from.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
I'm Ryan Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. This is Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary. Indiana Sports Beat is now a part of the Rivals Network. You can go to thehoosier.com to sign up. It's free. Catch the show there each day live or at your convenience. You can also like or follow us on Facebook, follow the show's rebroadcast anywhere you podcast. If we're not on a radio station where you live, we should be. Let your local station know they need to carry Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary, or simply go to thehoosier.com.
Some of the best sounds you'll ever hear are generic, safe, effective, even money-saving, just like FDA-approved generic drugs. Even if they don't come in the exact same color or shape as their brand name equivalents, they have the same key ingredients and go through a rigorous review process. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist today and visit fda.gov/generic drugs. Generics are safe, effective, and can save you money. You'll like the sound of that.
You're on the line with Jamal Meeks, former Indiana Hoosier, number 23, 1992. And I'm on the beat with Jim Coyle.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry.
Won't go astray. I hear her calling.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle Leary, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, powered by Rivals here on this Tuesday, Cinco de Mayo, no less. But talk about a celebration, could not be happier. I mean, this is like having the Mount Rushmore of Indiana athletics on today as we welcome Jerry and Todd Yeagley, soccer coaches for Indiana University. Guys, thank you so much. How are you? Not with us yet. Jake's not in his chair, so still waiting to make that connection. Got to get both of them on at the same time. But Jerry and Todd Yeagley joining us now. Today is IU Day on the BTN, by the way, Todd. It is nothing but IU stuff all day. The 1981 men's basketball later this afternoon. You're going to have soccer. There's football tonight. Penn State just the 81 championship, all kinds of stuff on the BTN today. It is IU Day as they head up to Worth the Wait, the documentary about Coach Yeagley and about starting the IU soccer program. 8 national championships that we'll be talking about as Jake is getting those two connected now. But you were in the midst of a student here, Todd, and when this thing was it's always in its heyday. It's still in its heyday, and it's just unbelievable what started out as a club and 8 national championships.
Oh, you talk about building something from nothing. I mean, this is unbelievable, and when I knew Coach Yeagley and I knew of him because of Coach Knight and how much he talked about Coach Yeagley at the time, and heck, that was back in the early 90s. So this process has continued on for almost 50 years now. The Yeagleys have been involved in and been in charge of soccer at Indiana University, and it is the winningest program. Big Coach is the all-time winningest coach in soccer in the country. I mean, it's just their resume is beyond needing to introduce. It's incredible.
Yeah, I don't know where Jake is getting those guys on here together, but they're not in the same place, so the social distancing.
They're even following the rules in social distancing.
Yeah,
of course they are.
Plus, we've got Jimmy Jake on today as Jimmy's going to transition into the producer role later on. But we're waiting to get the Yeagleys on with us here. But and the funny thing is, I remember we talked about this before growing up. Soccer was not a great thing to me, but man, oh man, I really have fallen in love with the sport. If you really take it for its purity, it's unbelievable. But
yeah, and you're like me. I mean, you get involved more in it because your kids participate in it, and I know your daughter obviously is big in it.
Todd's with us now. Coach Jerry, I think, is not going to be able to join us, it looks like. But got Coach Todd Yeagley with us. Coach, how are you, sir?
Hello, can you hear me?
You betcha, brother. How
yes,
are you doing
sir.
today?
Yes, how are you guys?
Oh, just wonderful, Coach. How are you, man?
I'm doing great, thanks.
It's a great day to sit in and watch a great documentary for certain on BTN. But there's so much more. I used to take it over BTN by the way, as you know. But man, what a celebration this is, Coach, of not just your father, but your father and his legacy, but the legacy of IU soccer, something you've continued as well. But just a great celebration of Indiana and all things that are fun.
That's right. No, it's this documentary film does a great job of kind of encapsulating our program, but in the heart of it, it's capturing the story of how you overcome and how you become a varsity program, in our case, and then the rise to the top, going to the 82 championship is really the storyboard, but then how Blue Line and Tucker and his team just did a phenomenal job of bringing in, other storylines of the program, bringing to light some coaches, some players, and the character building. It's a really good piece, even if you're not, an IU soccer fan necessarily. You're just a fan of sports, or you love documentaries in general. You'll really enjoy this.
I mean, it's kind of one of the 30 for 30 type deals. I mean, there's storylines to it. There's this historical. There's just so much. There's drama. There's just all kinds of stuff that goes into it that makes it worth watching. And it is more than worth watching. But even it's one of those things. Even though you know the ending or outcome, it doesn't matter. You can't wait to still see it.
Yeah, I mean, it's no different than what a great series right now with Jordan. And I mean, we all know the games that they won, and it's the stories behind it. It's the connecting to the people. It's learning things again that you didn't know, and all those stories come to life with the great interviews, with the game footage. It's a great mix that keeps you engaged. You're watching the film, and it's leading to the championship game in the final moments, and you're so kind of wrapped up with it. You obviously kind of forget, like what's of course you know what happens, but it's a bit suspenseful in the way they lead up to it, and then Again, the way they wrapped the program and were able to bring it to kind of current day. I mean, they've been filming this, it was probably 3 years in the making, and they have clips from our 17 College Cup in Philly and kind of showing present day and some home footage. It's some practice photo or video. It's really cool on how they go forward and backwards a lot, just like a lot of good documentaries in time.
And this all started back in '73. A lot of Hoosier fans know a lot of this, but some don't. I mean, it started as a club. It was not even a collegiate sport at IU. It started as a club, but your dad takes a club, and in 9 years is winning a national championship. Already been fighting for national championships in that period, but it wins one in 9 years. I can't tell people enough. We're talking Division I premier sport. And to go from 9 years from a club to a national championship, that's something that I don't know that's ever been accomplished other than maybe the dawn of sports, but it's incredible.
Yeah, the story on how the program became varsity is a good chunk of the early part of the film. And that, I think a lot of people will learn a lot about, what were the challenges, what were the political hurdles to get a sport to become varsity in that time, what the student body had, the impact and the leadership of Jeff Richardson, who was the student body president, how important he was with the help of some of our current players at that time, Gary Friesen and many others. And then locally, Nick Matabouli's not mentioned in the movie, but he was very instrumental in again, kind of strumming up the interest and getting people excited. But the campaigning to become varsity is a really cool plot within this film. And I think a lot of people just, they start seeing the records in '73, but they do a great job of accelerating '63 to '73, the year my father came here, and how it turned varsity in '73, and then boom, kind of where we went from there. So it encapsulates a lot of decades.
Todd, as being a former IU athlete, you heard his name all the time, but by the time you were here, this thing was rolling and rocking and rolling. But I look at Coach Yeagley and I think of Coach Knight. I mean, success-wise, very similar, but even maybe way more so in a lot of regards. Todd Leary. I mean, I'm sorry.
I knew you can't just say Todd.
I know, I forgot. Either. I'm used to calling him Coach, so I used to say Coach, but I forgot.
Coach Yeagley, this is Todd Leary here, and I just wanted, I was so excited to hear that you guys were going to be on today, because I wanted to people to understand what Coach Knight thought of not just the soccer program, but your dad in general. And I specifically remember I used to travel around with the varsity club, and Dave Martin was who was president of the varsity club. He was very nice and allowed me to play in some golf events around the state in the summertime and things like that. And traveling with that group was always Bill Mallory or your dad, Coach Yeagley. And so I got to spend a little bit of time with him, and I'll never forget, like, Coach Knight to me was, anything he said, we would have done. Like, we would literally, you hear running through the brick wall, we'd have done anything he said. And I'll never forget when one time he said to me, hey, as much time as you can possibly spend around Coach Yeagley, try to absorb as much as you can from him. He said he is one of the all-time great, not soccer coaches, but coaches that have ever been involved in sport. And I thought to myself, the person saying this to me is someone that I consider in that category, and he's telling me to take in everything I can from your father. And I'll never forget it. And it put you guys, it put your dad on a pedestal that I don't know how he could have ever gotten knocked off of it, but he has done nothing but back it up. And I know you and I played, we were student athletes at the same time here. And I know what everybody thought of the soccer program back then. And we were talking about it yesterday on the air, is I don't know of a father-son coaching duo in college sports that could even come close to ever rivaling what you guys are doing. Like, I don't, these are records that'll never be touched.
Well, I appreciate that. And the comments about my father, I think are those, he and Coach Knight, and you think about the years. With Coach Knight, my father, with Councilman. We're talking three of like the icons in their sport,
no doubt.
Across a lot of generations. And, you don't necessarily know when you're in it, and you have to look back and go, these are three of the biggest icons that will always be talked about with their sport and the way they're able to change it in many ways and bring more popularity or impact generations. People understand basketball largely because of what Coach Knight was able to put on the floor, and so many of those character traits are what you see in Indiana basketball around the state. And I think my father has had a similar impact. And there was a great amount of mutual respect. People ask me often about my father and Coach Knight, and it was a very respectful. Their hobbies were different. What they did away from the field might have been different. But the respect for each other and also the discipline that they had, they did it in a little bit different ways, but the commonality of
tongue-in-cheek.
The competitive juices were equally there. It's just my father, had a different way, and that's why we always say you can't always emulate. You got to be your own coach and your own person when you're leading a group. And anyhow, my father, though, the respect he had for the way that he organized his teams, and we would talk about. I'm a big basketball fan myself, and the discipline and the way that it was all about the team and the extra details that go into winning games. Those same important core values are what allows any sport to have success, any team in any sport, as we know. So it was fun to kind of watch it in real time, and I took away a lot because again, I made a lot of basketball games from a young kid, and so that whole time was unique with Coach Knight and Councilman and my father, and obviously what a special night it was with Coach Knight coming back. I was there, and it was pretty amazing.
Yeah, and we talk about all these things that your dad has started, obviously, but that's continued. And we've seen so many programs have greatness, and then, look at UCLA, what a great dynasty they'd had at one time, but that is that. This thing continued. You've managed to continue that, which that in and of itself is a different battle.
For 50 years.
To do that, but it's incomparable. Todd Leary, they just had, I think they have the number one recruiting class in the country right now.
That true, Todd Yeagley?
Well, it's yes, by the publication has it. As we say, it doesn't mean much. It's nice to put out a couple nice little blurbs, but we all know it until they get here and get this thing together. But yeah, the fortunate thing is we've been able to attract, a lot of talent, but we haven't lost sight of like how it was built. And I think a lot of that is going to be displayed today. And the values and what kind of players we look for in kids are really a modern version of how this was built. And it wasn't on talent. This program won on the ability to fight through and be tougher, and whether it was fitter or have a mental edge over your opponent. That's what accelerated IU soccer. And then as we got better, my father kept saying, well, then we could really get some horses in the stable. And you're not going to win without them ultimately long term. We know that. We're only as good as the talent that we're able to bring, but it's the right talent. And, we talk a lot about the right types of kids and not taking a shortcut and not being enamored by talent, by what that talent is able to produce on the field or court. So the consistency we're really proud of. I think if you look at the amount of winning, and today it's winning's harder than ever in all of our sports, but the consistency of being relevant over so many decades, one, I think was a testament of my father and how he was able to evolve, which I think every coach at some point, whether it's bringing a new staff member or just them understanding, I got to change a little bit in how I get across to these kids. but not lose, your core values. Same thing with playing style. I mean, you also have to evolve and grow. And my father did that. That's something that we work hard at here. So yeah, we're really proud. It's a good group coming in. And it's a big responsibility to keep IU soccer moving forward. And, that's what drives me every day. And I don't feel that as a burden or pressure. I find that as a great challenge.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. The pressure of maintaining a level of excellence that is beyond everybody else, year after year after year, for, like Todd said, nearly a half a century. That's nuts. But to maintain, we are all watching the Last Dance with Michael Jordan, and we see that competitive drive that you have to maintain championship level. That hasn't left Indiana soccer for 50 years. How do you maintain year after year that level of excellence?
Well, you're invested, and not to say that others aren't as much, but when there's something that you're that passionate about, and that you love it that much. I mean, I grew up with it. I mean, the love I have for IU athletics, and in particular our program, drives me. The why is very clear. I've seen, what it is to impact, an 18, 20-year-old and see what it does on the flip side. I got to kind of live it, I remember being a young kid, and one of the players that might have played in the 60s or 70s would pull me aside at a gathering and say, he's like, you have no idea what your dad and program and the coaches, the whole thing, but in particular my dad and the way they reference it, say kind of changed the trajectory of my life, and I would not be able to be doing what I do today. And when you hear that at 10, 11, 12, I mean, it kind of hits you like, we're looking at a lot of winning and the competitive pieces that are going into the program. But when you're able to see the big picture at a young age, it gave me a lot of perspective. So, we don't lose sight of that. We have a lot of enjoyment in what we do. And I stay really present. That's the only way I cannot, I know of our success. I know obviously what my father's done, but I guess I've lived with pressure a lot. When you're a coach's son of the successful coach, every step of the way in my own kind of career, I've had to deal with that. So I've been able to put that in perspective and use that as a motivator. A little bit, I can do this, and I'm going to do this, and use the blueprint that is here before. It's, surround yourself with great people, recruit the right talent, bring the family environment into this program, and invest in these kids and their lives and make them part of yours. And you got a great chance of winning. A lot of things go in between all those areas, but that's really what it is. It's not a complicated way. You just got to make sure that you put everything around these players to have the most success. And we certainly, that drives us every day. So being very present for me is really how I stay, I don't get caught up in what we need to do this year to keep the program, kind of where it is.
And another thing is you've gone through as a coach the change of players being 3-4 year players to being one and done, and that includes soccer. We've seen it happen in the IU soccer program the last several years because there's players are so good they don't stick around long. That's a new challenge in and of itself, of having refilled that cupboard so fast with elite talent.
It is. It's a new challenge, but again, I'd rather have that challenge. And again, many of my peers are like, some of them are like, oh, Todd, another one you lose to the pros, must be tough. And then some are like, yeah, I wish I had that problem. So, we're fortunate we get to attract those types of players. I think what we have to be really cognizant, and I think, you look across different sports, the ones that have been able to do it strategically, where it's the timing of when you expect one to be, gone sooner or later to offset that. So you have some consistency and, over the years, we work hard with our recruiting with that, but, you still get surprised in a good way. I mean, Jack Mayer, we didn't think would be a 2-year player. He just developed really fast, and the interest came quicker than expected. And so, in our clock, we had him as more of a 3-4 year, but I'm so happy he got the opportunity, and he'll thrive in the professional setting. But we do think we think through the recruiting and what we do not want to become a program that has that in and out, because your best stewards of the program are your upperclassmen. They're the ones that understand what needs to be done. And if you lose that, then it's coming from the coaches too much, and you're not going to win as consistently. It has to come from the players.
Before we let you go, obviously COVID-19 has changed so much for all of us. I have a daughter that plays high school soccer, going to be a senior. I mean, I'm so hopeful that she's going to get to have their season. I know you got to be the same. There's so much going on with preparing for a season. How are you hopeful that things are going to pick up and kind of be semi-normal?
Well, the whole spring and summer obviously is, all of the, and this goes for all of the kids in sports right now that are, whether it's high school or club or college. I mean, everyone, they're so driven in their sport. This is like taking a lot away from a lot of people in their daily routine. And I'm optimistic that, the people that make decisions are thinking through all the parameters. That's not for me to judge. I'm a soccer coach. I'm not a medical expert. But I do know that they need structure. They need their team. They need their environment to thrive. And I hope we can get that back sooner or later, because it's a big part of what makes these kids go. And so I'm optimistic we can get started on time. Obviously, a lot of things have to happen with the schools. I do feel that our friends up north, push the envelope a little bit. Purdue, that being, and is kind of put a stake in the ground that things are going to be starting. And I think you need schools to do that to get everyone kind of moving in that direction. So we're optimistic that we'll be on pace this fall, and we want to open that new stadium renovation, in the way that we envisioned it. Opening day in late August.
Yes, I'll be looking for my new recliner in the press room.
Well, there's going to be a lot more room. We're moving all the crazy yahoos out of that press area, so you actually can have a nice working press area. We're going to move them all to the other side. So we're pretty excited about that renovation. It's going to be opening here in July. It's coming along really well, so we're pretty excited.
Looking forward to that, and of course, looking forward to Worth the Wait at 5:00 today on BTN. Make sure you check that out. Coach Todd Yeagley, I can't thank you enough for joining us, always generous with us with your time. We greatly appreciate you, and look forward to getting back out and watching some soccer, man.
Yeah, no, it was great. Thanks for having me. It was good, Todd, having good connecting with you. I do remember you guys had some fun teams to watch and support during our days together. So it's been fun to see all your success, and those are some good times. I'm sure it's fun reminiscing when you guys get all together, I bet.
Well, I remind everybody, how good I was all the time. So yeah, I'm the president of my own fan club.
Well,
so,
I keep a couple pictures of me in the younger years around the house. Just reminds me if I'm having a tough day. Man, I used to be pretty fit and pretty decent, according to that picture.
I hear you.
So no, it's been fun to reconnect. So again, thanks for having us, guys. Appreciate all the coverage. Obviously, a big day for IU athletics. BTN's doing their marathon today, and these are just great stories to get out there for people that love their sport, and in particular IU. I think they'll really enjoy today at 5:00.
Yep, we can't wait to see it.
Coach Todd Yeagley joining us from Indiana Soccer Program. Please tell Coach Jerry we said hello, and looking forward to that. Have a great rest of your day, and enjoy the documentary.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Take care.
See you, bud.
Coach Todd Yeagley from Indiana University Soccer Program joining us as we head towards the Worth the Wait documentary on BTN today at 5:00. We got a lot more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat with Coy O'Leary. We're back at it right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily, Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs, Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. This is Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary. Indiana Sports Beat is now a part of the Rivals Network. You can go to thehoosier.com to sign up. It's free. Catch the show there each day live or at your convenience. You can also like or follow us on Facebook, follow the show's rebroadcast anywhere you podcast. If we're not on a radio station where you live, we should be. Let your local station know they need to carry Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary, or simply go to thehoosier.com.
Some of the best sounds you'll ever hear are generic, safe, effective, even money-saving, just like FDA-approved generic drugs. Even if they don't come in the exact same color or shape as their brand name equivalents, they have the same key ingredients and go through a rigorous review process. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist today and visit fda.gov/generic drugs. Generics are safe, effective, and can save you money. You'll like the sound of that.
Hey, this is Jordan Halls, former Indiana Hoosier. Keep up with Indiana sports on Indiana Sports Beat.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle Leary, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, powered by Rivals here on this Cinco de Mayo. Makes me feel like some Mexican food for breakfast.
Something wrong with you.
Well, that's proven fact a long time ago.
Mexican food and breakfast have never come out of my
mouth.
Man,
man, what you talking about? Oh my gosh, I'm on it as soon as I get done. I promise you.
Hillbillies.
Oh, there's probably some truth to that, no doubt. Something I noticed on the Last Dance the other night, and I meant to mention, when you were back playing and sticking in the hotels all day long like Jordan was, did you have enough pull that you could sit there and smoke cigars in a hotel room?
No. First of all, I was in college, so that would not have been – it would have been frowned upon.
Yeah,
but,
I was kidding. No, I just meant the fact that who the heck has so much pull just sitting there pulling on a big old Cuban in his hotel room all day long?
Yeah. You know what was funny about that was, okay, I guess they're just regular people, but I would have expected Jordan to have a suite. I mean, he was in a regular old room just like you and I would have had. That's a little surprising.
Yeah, who knows? But I bet you it was fun. And he's kind of complaining about, the lifestyle back then. Yeah, you can't complain now, dude. You're like the richest man in the world.
I know, but I'm telling you.
I know it's wrong. I know it's
cannot
rough.
possibly imagine what that would be like. I mean,
I can't either.
They did a good job of kind of explaining it. I mean, literally showing
his day. He was crazy.
Right. I mean, showing that, and think about that. That's one day.
Nonstop.
That literally is one day. There's nowhere in the world the guy can go.
Yep.
And not be, somebody come up. And here's the terrible part of this. Some people are going to run across Michael Jordan in person one time in their whole life. And that one time they want to get
It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Something signed for the child or
picture,
something,
selfie.
anything. Yeah, anything.
Something.
And so, you don't blame people for it. Yes, he's made gazillions of dollars off of it. But, man, just imagine. It is you can see where it takes its toll on him and anyone for that matter.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know how
some people couldn't handle
attitude.
it. I mean, it's obviously, and you understand, some people don't understand how people snap or what. Dude, when you got people taking your picture in your face all the time, I don't know how they don't snap more often. I'll be honest with you.
But I mean, here's the thing: you can do that. You can handle those situations perfectly, 99% of the time. And that 1 out of 100 times that you're in a bad mood or something bad's happened or anything is going on and you say something or blow somebody off.
That's the one that's going on Twitter.
That's the one that everybody's going to hear about. And it's just like I don't know how those guys – I don't know how those guys in general did it, but especially Michael Jordan.
I'm going to let Chronic recount the numbers in regards to the Yegleys and IU soccer. I didn't bring that up earlier. I knew he would, but 43 NCAA tournament appearances. 43. The reason that number is so big is because it's only out of so many years that the program's been in existence.
Well, I remember seeing a stat. This has been a while ago, but it was a comparison of Coach Knight, and it was kind of comparing the soccer program and Coach Yeagley because their tenures at IU almost mirrored each other. I mean, they were just like a year or two off of each other. But Coach Knight always had we've heard the stat about. Every player that played up until, a certain year either won a national championship or a Big Ten title. And that's over a 20-plus year period. That's a pretty impressive thing to be able to say. And Coach Yeagley has, for his 30-year tenure at IU, never had a player that didn't make a Final Four.
That's
and
sick.
that is, when you hear about that, Coach Knight's record is crazy, and you're like, gosh, that's incredible. And then you hear Yeagley's, and you're like, what? That's
20.
Almost virtually impossible.
Indiana, all right, 43 tournament appearances. Here's what the number that just blows you away. 43 times they've been in the tournament. 20 college cups. That's Final Four. 20. Almost 50%. Final Four. That's not possible.
It's not possible. And I think I don't know if it's the most recent one, so I shouldn't say this, but I can remember one not very long ago when they won as a 16, as the highest seed in the tournament. They won the national championship. And you don't do that without a great foundation and then just unbelievable leadership and coaching at that point. Like it's a big deal. We can't overstate enough. We take it for granted how good they really are because they're good every year.
No doubt about that. We talked earlier about Louisville and their problems and how I think that's going to affect recruiting. I think Archie's going to be the benefit of Louisville once again. You're right. I forgot about the fact about Romeo, and that was a direct result of that. And I think it could possibly happen again. But this time, there's like for Trey Kaufman, you got Purdue in the mix, you got Virginia in the mix. Maybe there's. I don't think that Louisville was a target for him. I think only because of proximity. Because this kid is really about school, man.
Nice. He's
smart.
It's nice to X that one out, though. That's the closest. That's as close as it gets. Louisville's closer than Bloomington, so it's nice to X that one off the list. Hopefully,
yep.
and you never know. We're Xing it off his list. He's not Xing it off his list.
Right on. I think it helps Indiana, but that doesn't eliminate Purdue or doesn't eliminate Virginia or anybody else he might be looking at. I don't know what's in his thought process. But again, because we do know this kid, his academics are very important. He's the valedictorian of his dang school. How often does that happen? That doesn't come along every day.
What's that mean? What's that mean?
Basically, the smartest kid in your class.
I'm kidding.
I hear you. I'm like, what? Who? I don't know what that is either. Who was that?
Yeah. Yeah,
but it's just a mind-boggling.
No point
because of when you're playing basketball at that level, your time is pulled. So much of you is pulled, and to excel in the classroom at that level, it usually takes that extra time that you don't have here.
But you know what? You know how you get a guy like Calbert Cheney, and you get a guy like
they're just smart.
Those guys are, it looks easy to them. And you know what? School's that way to some people. Not me for sure, but some people. They just get it, and they're just smart in general. I have 0 point of reference when it comes to that.
The first national championship that Jerry Yeagley wanted out of you, do you know how many they played Duke? Do you know it went to 8 overtimes?
No way. A national championship game?
8 overtimes.
Wow.
They had lost to San Francisco, I think, already a couple times for a national title when they won their first one. I think it was an 82. 8 overtimes.
We talk about how difficult it is. I mean, we refer back to basketball, but you could think about any program in general. We think about how difficult it is to turn one around or, come in and jumpstart one after it's, had a few down years. Think about having nothing. Like I think I read something on there about how Coach Yeagley's first couple of years he was unpaid.
Yeah, it was a club.
He was an unpaid coach at the university. I'm like,
it's crazy.
To go to one, think about how good of a negotiator he has to be able to talk his wife into letting him go take an unpaid job for a couple of years. I mean, my gosh.
We got plenty more coming up. Chronic is next. Chronic Hoosiers is going to join us here on Indiana Sports Speed. Make sure you go check out Bubba's 33, man. The stuff's about to unleash. Get out to your dentist. See Dr. J down there at Reynolds Family Dentistry, Eagle Point Pub. Ryan Shaddy if you need to buy a house. Stuff's about to unleash, man. Let's get back out and get things going. But we got a lot more Indiana Sports Speed with Coy O'Leary coming up right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. This is Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary. Indiana Sports Beat is now a part of the Rivals Network. You can go to thehoosier.com to sign up. It's free. Catch the show there each day live or at your convenience. You can also like or follow us on Facebook, follow the show's rebroadcast anywhere you podcast. If we're not on a radio station where you live, we should be. Let your local station know they need to carry Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary, or simply go to thehoosier.com.
Some of the best sounds you'll ever hear are generic, safe, effective, even money-saving, just like FDA-approved generic drugs. Even if they don't come in the exact same color or shape as their brand name equivalents, they have the same key ingredients and go through a rigorous review process. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist today and visit fda.gov/generic drugs. Generics are safe, effective, and can save you money. You'll like the sound of that.
Hey, it's Michael Lewis, former Indiana University player and current UCLA assistant basketball coach, and you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat.
back to Indiana Sports Beat with Coy O'Leary coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios here on this Tuesday. And you know what that means. If it's Tuesday, it's Chronic Hoosier Day. Chronic, how are you doing, brother?
Always happy to be back, man. How are you guys today?
Happy now that it's a Chronic Tuesday. Maybe combinate the Taco Tuesday, maybe. Todd does not favor a Mexican breakfast. We were just having that discussion. He's took off for a second, but yeah, I love me some Mexican breakfast. But Cinco de Mayo, Taco Tuesday, Chronic Tuesday. We got it all going today, man.
What are the odds that Cinco de Mayo falls on Taco Tuesday and gets wiped out by a virus named after the most popular Mexican beer?
That's freaking hilarious. I didn't think about that. That's the funniest thing of all, man. Just had Todd Yeagley on Chronic, of course, today. IU Day, man, on the BTN. They just take over all kinds of great stuff on there to watch. But, of course, leading up to that great documentary Worth the Wait, we were just reliving a lot of the things that built that up. But you've been here that whole time, brother. What a program, and looking forward to watching that documentary.
I tell you what, I got a chance to go see the premiere at Assembly Hall. I think it was last August. They rolled it out and played it on the big screens there. And it's, there a lot of times programs hype up a lot of stuff, and they just try to draw as much eyes as possible. I don't know that I've seen anything, maybe short of the Michael Jordan documentary that's out right now that lives up to the hype quite like this production does. This was something that Adidas put on in coordination with IU, local group here, Blue Line Cinema, made it. It's just absolutely amazing. I don't have the words to describe how cool it is. And probably the coolest thing of all is we were waiting to go in and watch the thing start up. Seeing all the former players that had come back, programs always talk about, we're more than a program, we're a family here. I don't know that you can find another program in the nation that more closely or accurately embodies that, because that's basically how they started. I mean, they had zero funding. There was no support. The club team had been here for decades before Coach came over and took it over. And, with the help of his wife, Marilyn, and a bunch of kids that just believed in his vision and his tactics and his goals and just his overall philosophies in life, went on to become, obviously the most successful college soccer program the NCAA has ever known. It's absolutely amazing until you get a chance to meet Coach and understand just what an unbelievably awesome human being he is, and the way in which he instills and motivates others around him to be their best. It's a special thing. It's a special documentary. I can't wait to watch it again tonight.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I have not seen it. I've seen the trailer, but I did not was not in town when that ran there. But that I'm just looking forward to it. And so actually, there's a lot of things on the BTN today. I'm looking forward to watching some of those games.
Did you? Hey, Jim, did you see? Like I saw the Big Ten Network put out a thing like it's IU Day.
Yeah,
and everything on there is IU. Did you see that tomorrow is the Purdue Hour? They're giving Purdue a full hour tomorrow of all the things they've accomplished in time. They get a full hour tomorrow.
Well, that basketball legacy,
all their history of success.
Well, they have
it's
to
just a 30-second gift of the moon landing on repeat for 60 minutes.
Oh man,
I couldn't resist it.
That's actually great. Just the little blip, but it's hard to do when you got to go back 50 years to your last Final Four. But.
It's cool. I mean, this thing is. I don't know if they're just lucky that they timed it this way or what it is, but my gosh, I mean, what a good thing I see people every day post something of, hey, I just watched the 87 national championship game, or I watched this game or that game. And think about right now having this thing premiere at 5:00 today. I mean, I watched the trailer for it. I mean, if you're any part of an Indiana fan, it's as big a documentary as the Michael Jordan thing. It's just not 10 hours long.
Yeah, and probably easily could have, but that's not the case. There's a lot of stuff going on in Chronic, too. We talked about earlier, U of L, Louisville got their notice of allegations. We knew it was coming, but I think that's going to possibly help Indiana with some recruiting. We were talking that Archie's been the benefit of Louisville's malfeasance before, and I think that may work out again.
There was a lot of talk during Romeo's commitment, or the recruitment, I should say, that possibly played a factor in it. I think at the end of the day, anytime you have a regional powerhouse who's hobbled in any way, shape, or form, whether it be through coaching changes, NCAA violations, anything that hampers them certainly helps you. And that's, I'd say that's the case here. We'll see how long lived it is. Louisville seems to be, maybe not quite North Carolina level Teflon, but the fact that they continue to even operate, to be totally honest with you, in any, functioning capacity is just a testament to the NCAA's ineptitude. I mean, the violations they've had there, we know that there's a lot of shadiness all around college athletics. They seem to be the superlative, though, as far as the grosser end of the way things go. So this will be interesting because Louisville has a pattern of fighting these things tooth and nail. What's wild right now, though, is not only are a lot of the allegations backed up with FBI tapes, you also find Louisville, who is deeply diminished as far as their resources. Louisville's cutting salaries, cutting programs across the board as they prepare to reckon with this enrollment bubble that's bursting on colleges all over the country right now. So I'd be real curious to see exactly how much money they throw at the lawyers here to fight this thing. When, like I said, it's already been proven in federal courts that there was some shadiness, that Louisville was the beneficiary of it. We'll see exactly how this plays out, but I think it's going to be a fascinating study. And just institutional values, when you can barely afford to keep the lights open right now and keep the payroll checks flowing, how much money are you going to throw at this thing to fight when everybody knows full well what happened? They've already cleaned house as a result of it, perhaps trying to spare themselves the NCAA sword. It'll be really interesting to see exactly how the association treats them.
Hey, how about we didn't talk about this, Jim? How about Adidas passing on Michael Jordan as
my God, I forgot about the minute that happened.
Of all the stupid things Adidas has done in all these alleged violations and all the things they've got going, that's not even remotely close to the stupidest thing they've ever done.
You're right.
And passing on Michael Jordan. I mean, my God. I mean, David Falk, I think I haven't heard his name in so long. I mean, I think he just basically rode off into the sunset after Jordan. Why wouldn't you? But, I mean, what a genius that guy was in seeing that stuff ahead of time. And I mean, luckily, we got to thank Jordan's mom.
That's right.
For all of that, for him ending up going to Nike. But man, what a ridiculous as Adidas, I'd crawl under a rock right now after seeing that thing come out.
I'll tell you the flip side of that coin too, man, is it reminded me just how far Converse has fallen since the mid '80s. I mean, that was the shoe back then. They had the cons where you could swap out your colors, which if you were unfortunate enough, like myself, to be in a school like Seymour and your colors are purple and white, like who's making those shoes? Anything you saw purple, it had gold in it because of the Lakers. But just the abilities that you could customize your kicks, and everybody back then was rocking the cons. Not only was it a huge miss for Adidas and a pickup for Nike, but what a power shift as far as Converse basically falling off, the podium, if you will.
Because Converse was they were the first ones that just, I mean, they took the whole NBA over. Like, I mean, when they had Magic and Jordan and all that, I mean, that was the only shoe you ever even really thought about. And I forgot all about it. But man, when they brought up the fact of Nike was a running shoe or a track shoe, I specifically remember thinking to myself when Nike was coming out, like, that's a track shoe. Like, what are they talking about? Like, who's going to wear that? And I mean, that kind of conversation doesn't even make any sense in today's world because, I mean, it's pretty much, I mean, Adidas kind of put themselves back into the mix now and Under Armour very little bit because of Steph Curry and that stuff. But I mean, it's Nike or nothing pretty much when it comes to basketball.
I think we're burying the lead here because I was today years old when I found out that not only is Seymour home of the largest gym in the world, but John Mellencamp, Terry Morin, and Chronic Hoosier. I did not know that.
That was my temporary childhood home. I was born in Bloomington, raised my young life in Indianapolis. My family relocated to Seymour in the 80s. So I got to spend quite a bit of time there in Barney Scott. I actually I grew up in the gym watching Terry Morin's team. I had a gal that used to babysit for my brothers because I was old enough. I didn't need it at that point, but not quite old enough to be trusted with my kin. She played alongside Coach Moore, and there was also another Indiana Hall of Famer, Julie Von Dilligan, and that was kind of their 1-2 combo that was just unstoppable. So watching a little old Seymour make it to the state championship, under her leadership it was amazing. And to see a girls team back then, you got to keep in mind, like, women's sports has perpetually been in a struggle to attract eyes and get butts in the stands. And to see a gym that big fill up for a girls team to go on that run. The only comparable I have is back when Damon made his run and all those games ran through Seymour. It was just absolutely amazing to watch. Ton of respect for those girls. They were a hell of a volleyball team back then too.
Oh, I just love the fact that it reminded Todd Leary refers to us as hillbillies because you're a Southern Indiana person too. So,
well, I knew it was important because our producer Jake looks at Seymour as the big city. So I understand why he looks forward to having you on every Tuesday, Chronic.
I'll tell you what, man, that was the toughest transition of my childhood. Going from Indianapolis to Seymour, be like, oh, look at this city slicker. And then later down the road, my family bought a farmhouse out in the country. And then I ended up going to Brownstown for a couple of years. And everybody at Brownstown's look at this Seymour boy, big city slicker. I'm like, man, how far down this hole do we slide before we're just in, living on dirt floors and in the outhouse? I'll say this much, man. Salt of the earth folks down there absolutely love 812. My dad's got a running theory, and I dare anybody to refute it. 98% of everybody from 812 generally descends from some Kentuckians that just ran out of gas migrating towards Michigan. Prove me wrong.
Yeah, I think he's proved. Hey, another thing with COVID-19, we've all been kind of sequestered and all that. It's starting to loosen up a little bit, which we got to be smart, of course. But I know that one of the things you're looking forward to, and all of us are, or wherever you are, but here in Bloomington, to getting out to the local establishments and patronizing them when it becomes available.
No, absolutely, man. Still trying to do our part to keep everybody going. The thing that really stuck out to me, the clearest here in the last week with Little Five having passed. This town, for all the shops and all the restaurants and the bars that make it great. What I'm really missing right now, to be totally honest, is the people. The people that give this town its energy, that give this town its buzz, that make it everything it is. It was so cool to see driving home Saturday night, all the kids out that are still in town, who decided to finish out the semester in their local residence. Everybody was out on their porch enjoying those 78-degree spring days that, when you think back to your time on Bloomington's weekends like this past one that tend to come to the forefront in your memories. And just to see some kids still here made me realize how much I miss them. Locals like to bitch about all the traffic and the congestion and the indifference of the student population, but you can't tell me this town would be anything close to what it is without them. And I think as we look at the totality of it, this town's never going to heal until we can get the kids back. So, hopefully everybody stays well through this. Hopefully they stay smart and we don't backslide too far on it. But I'm just looking forward to the day that we can get everybody back on campus. We can get everybody back under the same roof, whether it be just hanging out, having a meal, or watching a game together.
I'm sure I won't have any problem transitioning back into it, but I can tell you, as a person who generally ate out at a restaurant at least 5 nights a week, I can tell you I have transitioned pretty nicely into picking it up and eating from home. I'm sure over a year's period of time, I'll go out just as much, but for the foreseeable future, especially before things get cleared up, specifically, I won't have any problem continuing to pick stuff up and bring it home.
No, I mean, it's been the carryout game has been amazing. It's pretty abnormal hours right now, and that's the only way I get to eat.
That's always important to do that. But I've become a better cook, I think, during this time. But I'm looking so forward to getting back out and just sitting down at whether it's Yogi's or wherever it is, and just sitting next to somebody, like you said, Crank, and having a conversation, a beer, a meal, and just feeling like a normal person again.
I have long dreamed of writing a book. Mitch Albom had a Tuesday with Maury's, and I have long wanted to write one about my Friday afternoons at Nick's. For decades, that's been my lunch spot. Every Friday, get the seafood chowder, half of barbecue strom, And as great as the meals have always been, what's been just as consistent are the conversations, the relationships that pop up along the way, just the stories you generate from it. And I miss that quite a bit. And I'm looking forward to getting back and hopefully writing the next chapter soon.
Absolutely. Well, Chronic, brother, I'm glad to have you on here. Things are going great, and looks like we're going to be getting out here soon, so I'm looking forward to that as well. But hope everything's going well with the family, and we appreciate you.
Hey, always a pleasure to be here. You guys be safe. We'll catch you next week.
See you, buddy.
Chronic Hoosier joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat on this Cinco de Mayo. I'm going to have some Mexican breakfast, whether Todd likes it or not. Looking forward to that. But another great show, man. Fun time with Coach Yeagley. We'll have to get Jerry on here sometime, maybe a little later on when they get out of this coronavirus.
I was thinking about it. I mean, Coach Yeagley's he's probably got to be close to 80 years old, doesn't he?
I would think. He don't mess with us.
I mean, he's real similar ages to Coach Knight. So
yeah. But you're looking forward to watching the BTN documentary today. Looking forward to watching some other stuff on there too, man. Like I said, some of the 81 championship is going to be on.
We've already watched all that.
I know. I haven't, so I get to watch that. But I did finish watching The Last Dance last night. So and I think I saw more than I realized. I was just half asleep, and it just had to jog my memory. But looking forward to that too, man. Well, no, not much outside today. It's not the most beautiful day. So
it should be a clean the house kind of day.
Well, there's some of that, but we look forward to it. Hope you guys get out and continue to support the people like Bubba's 33 or the Eagle Point Pub or Ryan Shaddy if you need a house or if you need to get out to the dentist. Dr. J said he's ready to get back to work, so Todd's going to go down there and go to the dentist.
Todd needs to go down there.
We got to get him in there. But we appreciate everybody. Thanks a lot to Todd, as always, and Jake and Jimmy, the Jake and Jimmy show today. They're in there together. But we'll be back tomorrow.
Hey, you know what? It's Southern Indiana. You got to make sure you clarify that's two people because in Southern Indiana, a lot of times that can just be one person's name.
Tomorrow on the program, it's going to be a Brink. John Feinstein on the program tomorrow, author of Season on the Brink. Looking forward to that. For the rest of you guys, oh boy, I cannot wait. This may be a first. A former IU player interviewing John Feinstein. Oh, my God.
Yeah, I'm into this.
Fun. Holy crap. Well, guys, go out and have a great day. We appreciate you as always. Until tomorrow, I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.